The following video has been approved by the JD marketing team. The video has been rated JD. The following video may not be suitable for all viewers. Good morning and g'day mate, and welcome back to Dyson Sphere with me, JD. Now, you might notice that we're back on our home planet. You might also notice we're standing back in the middle of our bus, because I had to come home to check a couple of things. And this episode, it's going to be a bit of a weird episode. I'll get this out in advance. It's going to be more of a general update video, because believe it or not, between the last episode and this episode, quite a number of things have happened. So, first off, let's go through some basics. Why I'm back here. First thing is that button. If we go to number 1, and I set it to the last hour, we are tracking critical photons, and we're also tracking space warpers. And I need to set this to entire cluster. Okay, so now that we've got our new system set up, our new system bringing back critical photons, and we also are, it means that I can remove some of the Dyson Sphere stuff that I have here that was temporary, because, you know, in case you can't tell, the current Dyson Sphere ended up with a bit more than just one top hat. It ended up with a couple of top hats because I needed more critical photons. On top of that, the other reason we're here is I'm actually consuming space warpers faster than I'm making them, which has me worried. I'm still producing science and consuming science at the correct rate, but I'm a little bit worried about the fact that we're consuming space warpers faster than we're making them. So we need to come here to do a couple of things. First thing I need to do is find out where we're making space warpers and confirm that everything is okay. Because if everything's not okay and we've suddenly run out of space warpers, we do have the extra 5,000 that I put aside, but trying to restart the base could be a little bit difficult. And we have plenty of space warpers, so it's just a fudging in the maths or something. But that is definitely working perfectly fine. Okay, so first problem taken care of. Second problem taken care of is, or second problem we need to look at is critical photons, which are that direction, I think. That direction? Yes, we have lots of critical photons, which means the first thing we're going to do is we're going to uncap that. And I have plenty of those, but those don't go into interstellar storage. Do I have... You have a free slot. We're going to have you be a local demand with a remote supply, with some shippies. You don't have warpers. Do you have warpers? You have warpers. Okay. Solved. Okay. So, that fixes that problem. Now, a couple of other things I need to mention whilst we happen to be on our home planet is, one, you might notice up in the top left-hand corner, the game is currently telling me my frame rate at all times. It turns out, even though I upgraded to a 3070, yes, I managed to find a 30 card in stock and available where I could actually purchase it at, well, I was going to say realistic prices, but considering it's Australian prices, it was about twice the price when compared to US dollars, because that's just the price they're sold at in stores in Australia. I did look at a 3080s are still unobtainium, but I did even look at a 3090, and the fact that 3090s, if they say 2,000 US dollars, they're 3,000 US dollars by the time they get to Australia. It's not quite 3,000 US dollars. Actually, no, I take that back. It basically is. It's basically 3,000 US dollars for a 3090, which is just unrealistic. Because yeah, like I said, I've sort of started to hit the cap of the game, and we haven't even finished all the projects that I had set for ourselves, because I'm trying to fire up the game on a 1440 screen. Now, if I drop the resolution down to 1080, I'd probably be fine, and that's something we may look at. At the same time, the devs are hard at work, and they are doing optimization stuff right and center, so who knows what happens in the long term. But yeah, I do want to point out that, yeah, I've already started to skip frames. The game is already starting to run slower because I've maxed out my PC. So that's the first thing I need to cover. Second thing I need to cover is a whole bunch of things the devs have been doing. So first off, we're going to go to map view, and I've had some mods break as well because it is a modified playthrough. I am adding and removing mods as we go, but you might notice that my home star system is back to calling 66 Tilly Gari blah blah Australis. So they've added a couple of things the devs have done. So we need to go over that first. First thing we need to do is we need to actually, as part of vanilla game, rename our system to Australis. Because we can now do that, and we can now rename stars. On top of that, and this is what makes my life even better, is we can actually rename individual planets. So we can call our home planet, home is where it's automated. So this is now home is where it's automated, and that label stays there for good. This one we can call the Great Forge World, because that was our forged world. And that one over there is just crap. Same with this one, the Ice Giant is just crap. But it means you can now go through and you can now rename all the stars that you visited. So I could pop out to, you know, this star and say, okay, rename it to, I don't really care what it's called, but rename it with like some markers. So like, haven't mined any iron or any copper at that planet, or any coal or any stone, because I was mining out everything whenever we visit a new star system, and it just got to the point where I'm like, nope, we're just going to do the rare resources and maybe iron. But you know, I'm now running into a situation, I think it was titanium. I'm completely out of titanium. Well, I was out of titanium, had to go do some outposting, and I wasn't sure which stars I'd visited that I had done titanium and hadn't done titanium. On top of that, other features the devs have added, because we now have this little circle here. We can always show, always hide, auto show hide, or I'm back to auto show, always show labels. So that's one thing. On top of that, it doesn't drag your map around when you click on different planets. On top of that, we can click view, and I can actually see that system now. All right, I can see that one's the one with acid. That's a gas giant. And can I? Okay, that one, and then view. And I can click on its little friend, and I can see that one's the one with lava. I can't get what resources are where, which I think as I've visited there is a bit of a, it sucks. But, you know, there's definitely more I can see. If we go to one I haven't been to, we can view that, and I can now scroll around, click on the different planets, click on Oceanic Jungle with a horizontal rotation. But it does mean that my sheer luck of happening to find the new system that we went to was luck. Whereas now I could, you know, at least go, well, what does that one look like? That one doesn't look nearly as good. O-type star, B-type star, B-type. Where's a blue giant? Blue giant. I only has one star around it, one planet around it. I do want to find a blue giant. That's going to be a later conquest. Blue giant, O-type, B-type, blue giant. Has 2 planets at least. 3 planets, except one of them is a gas giant. Volcanic ash satellite. Entirely like perpetual day and night. Well, that's the one we probably want to go to. All the way out here. So yeah, it does mean browsing around the system is a whole lot easier. On top of that, we've added a new feature as well. Let's click Australis 1, and we can now put on an indicator line. Now, an indicator line puts this lovely little blue line from A to B. And if we go back to Icarus and we jump, we can see there's a lovely magical blue line that sticks out of his feet. Which, more importantly, if I fly out to space, we can now get some basically very important details. First off, we can see that is taking us exactly in the direction we need to go to fly to that planet. On top of that, it's giving us this lovely indicator, which is our distance, our current ETA, our bias. So our bias is, you know, how... That does not make any sense at all. There we go. Okay, our bias is how many basic degrees I am off from going directly the way I want. So if I got that down to 0, I'd be facing the exact right direction. On top of that, we have a yaw and a pitch number. So if I got those... No, that's negative. Oh god, that is so hard to... No, slow down. Slow down. Okay. Your... My pitch is a little bit high, a little bit low, and my bias is way off. Okay. I thought bias was how close to the planet, how close to the right direction you were going to be. But maybe I'm entirely wrong. I don't know. Sound off in the comments. Sound off in the comments what the bias is. But yes, lovely little feature. And we can also see when I turn around, the ETA goes through the roof. So clicky, clicky, and then clicky, clicky. Okay, home is where it's automated. Yeah. Okay, so wonderful little features. On top of that, when you go into warp speed, we can see ETAs drop. And yes. Now, there is one thing I will mention about this, is even after I land, it seems my blue line stays with me. Which is something I'd like to see go away and be like, no, you're close enough to that. We can remove your little blue line. Because the only way to get rid of it is to zoom out and turn off the indicator line entirely. Okay, so that's another change. On top of that, can I find a shippy? I have interstellar ships everywhere, but I need to have some that are actually in movement. And there's not that many on this planet that are in movement. Well, there's some missing from there, so... Yeah, they're hydrogen. They're moving. Okay. So, the other thing that has changed is the devs have optimized the logic of the takeoff, landing, acceleration, deacceleration of logistics vessels to make it faster and in line with scientific principles after upgrades. So, thanks, labs. Super thanks, labs. So, these guys should be faster to get out and get back and all sorts of things. On top of that, they've added a really interesting update. And I'm going to go with the tech tree because this one is important. So, balance. They adjust the energy consumption of logistics vessels when the sailing speed is upgraded to more than 3,000 meters per second. And no additional energy consumption will be increased according to the maximum sailing speed. So, that one's a better example. So I have 10 ships out, okay? I have 10 ships out. And let's assume I was way lower on the upgrades, and I just want to have 4 belts of material coming out of one of these things at all times. So, if I had 4 belts of material going out at all times, and I needed to have 10 ships, and say they were doing, I don't know, let's go with 2,000 meters per second. If they were going 2,000 meters per second, I'd need X amount of energy, okay? And let's just assume it's enough to have this charge at 300 megawatts and basically never have any power in it. As soon as it had enough power in it, a ship would land and take back off, okay? If I upgraded the ships to go 300 meters per second, as they got faster and faster, they'd end up consuming more and more energy. But once they went from 2,000 meters per second to 3,000 meters per second, they're now going 33% faster, but also means I need 33% less ships. So rather than needing 10, always moving, always going, picking up stuff, I only need 7, always going and always picking up stuff. But then as you further increase the speed of the ships, so, you know, say you doubled it. Say you went from 3,000 meters per second up to 6,000 meters per second. Blindingly fast ships. You'd still need the same amount of energy. You wouldn't need 6 ships anymore. You'd need 3 ships because they're that much faster. But you'd still need the same amount of energy because as they got faster, they just consumed energy faster. What the devs have changed is it means that your energy consumption on your ports maxes out once they get to 300 meters per second, which means anything from there on, which, by the way, if we go back to the tech tree, is carrier engine number 10, which is like a 32,000 pack research, so it's not cheap. But once you get to that speed, it means anything above and beyond that is bonus. So if I went from 3,000 meters per second to 6,000 meters per second, rather than 6 ships out, I'd only need 3 ships out. But on top of that, they'd only consume half the amount of power, which is the important part. Because as you can see, like, I've got 2 ships here, and the only reason I bet I have 2 ships here is they don't have any power. So I probably need to charge this one even faster. Yeah, now another ship's gone. So, yeah. And same with this one. I probably need to charge this one faster. So ships can get out and get back as quickly as possible. So it does mean that going up and up and up the tech tree is going to make your ships faster and also more energy efficient. One of the other small changes the devs did is they made the hydrogen fuel rod, rather having 40 megajoules worth of power, now it has 50 megajoules worth of power. I would really, really like it if the hydrogen fuel rod, the deuterium fuel rod, and the antimatter fuel rod, and there are mods that do this, once you'd use them up, you got back the empty canister. So like you only had to add new hydrogen to the hydrogen fuel rod. It would make getting hydrogen fuel rods early game a lot quicker and a lot easier. Same with the deuterium fuel rod, although, yeah, actually, because making the magnetic rings, not so much the titanium alloy, but the magnetic rings, they're expensive and annoying. Maybe not the antimatter fuel rods. The antimatter fuel rods, they can probably be expensive for the sake of it being expensive. But yeah, just saying it. Just you know, next update, devs. Okay, so that was one thing. 2 things we had to do. Third thing I need to do is you're the source of all our landfill, which is not being produced. Is that stone? You guys think stone, right? Yes. And that stone that comes into that belt. Okay. Stone. No, not into that tower. To there, please. And then into there. That's coal. I don't want coal. I want stone. I selected stone. Thank you. Yeah, it's going to a super slow belt, which means it's going to take ages to filter through. Yeah, just give me everything. Thank you. Cool. I come here to do some simple things, and the first thing I do is I break things. Just about right. Just yeah. JD for you. JD for you. Okay. Yeah, we do have the last few things that are still being fed off real resources on this planet are slowly running out. Yeah, slowly running out. Okay, so the other thing I want to do whilst we're here is I want to fly, please, because it's faster. I want to find our rockets, which are above that. I much prefer those substations when they're landed. And then go to our importing of sales, which is that tower, and change that to a supply. At the same time, I want to go out to here. We're going to turn off run game, and I'm going to pick one of these spheres because we don't need these anymore, and we're just going to click So we've just quickly removed, like, you know, all the extra panels I didn't need, along with the ring around the middle, because I'm no longer going to make critical photons here. I am going to have to come back at some stage and pick up all the ray receivers I'm not using, but we've already turned that off. What should happen is if I can get out to orbit, come on, I need to get to orbit of the sun. Yeah, and then I need to slow down to nothing. And there will be a time lapse of this later on. Please don't crash, Icarus. Oh. Too close to the gas giant. What should happen is the sun should absorb every single solar sail, and the whole lot should implode. Totally worth doing. Totally worth doing. Yes, and you might notice there are sails literally everywhere currently. They have exploded all the way out. I'm actually waiting for, well, there's some out in my orbit. Yep. So we'll put a time-lapse, a better time-lapse, a full time-lapse of this at the end of the video. But what we need to do right now is we need to get to map view. That's even brilliant from map view. I wish I could make this GUI go away. Yeah, okay, we need to go out to map view, go to our new system. I want to go back to Icarus 1. Yes, at the same time, I do need to rename this system. Now, there are lots of... Actually, let's go out. We can name it when we get there. Now, there were lots of really good names. I did have one that I really, really liked was NHS 6.1, which just means nothing if you see it. And that was New Home System 6 Planets 1 Sun. Really, really liked that one, just because it looks like code. There was comments for, you know, name it Canada, Canada by a Canadian. There was the Rayo system for Superman. There was what was the other one? Six Nations. I like Six Nations as well. That was really, really good. Suburbia probably says something about my belt placement. Name it Narvis after Factorio, which I'm really tempted to do. There was... Now, this is going to be Latin, so I'm going to ruin it entirely. Novam Domum? Okay. Which is Latin for new home. The planet between two rings should be called Middle Earth. Or Saturn version 2. So there were some really, really, really good suggestions, but the one I really liked, because we named the first system, I gotta do it from map view. Because we named the first system Australis, we're gonna name the new one Tasmania. Tasmanus? Yeah, Tasmanus. For Tasmania, because I'm Australian, so why not? Okay. So with that said, and the explosion going off in front of us, we're going to head to our new system and leave this mess behind us. Actually, I didn't spin fast enough. I was curious what that would have looked behind us. And I have 1 minute to get there. So if I click that... so hang on. We have Tyler Lock Rockets, which is that one. I do like this one for Middle Earth. And Forged in Fire. Okay, so we've named some of them. We still have some ones unnamed, which we will name later. But at the moment, it gives me 30 seconds to talk about my lovely sponsors for these episodes. My lovely sponsors for these episodes are the Patreon members, which also means now I can start renaming stars left, right, and center. I'm going to be starting to name stars after Patrons. So if you wish to have your name featured in this series, because the plan is with 200 stars in the system to go visit 200 stars at least once, providing my PC doesn't explode, which now that I'm away from a factory planet looks like it's okay. There's also a mod that I can install that will turn off some of the features, or some of the graphical features, which should help things. So yes, I need to thank the lovely Patreon members for supporting the channel, supporting everything I do here. They're actually helping currently, they know it, and some of you guys might also know it, they're currently helping me build a new studio, because I recorded in the middle of my dining room, which means this episode is on its 3rd recording, because I've had people deliver packages and randomly show up home when they're not meant to and slam front doors and all sorts of things, which is not very good for you guys, which means that whole episodes have had to be re-recorded several times. So with that said, like I said, I need to thank the lovely Patreon members. Yes, I have everything I need in my inventory, except I need belts. Can I get some belts? So yeah, I need to thank the Patreon members that support the channel for much less per month. Well, most people support for much less per month than what they pay for Netflix. And as you guys are probably watching, you know, an hour's worth, or, you know, half hour's worth to an hour's worth every day, which is probably more than what you're getting out of your Netflix. You know, it's probably a good deal. So, we're on our new system. Now, our new system's doing great. It did have, like, the extra ring added, and we're actually going to go into... Actually, we'll do that in a minute. Actually, we'll go... No. We'll go in here. So, as you can see, I am currently launching wherever the hell they are. We're launching from here out to here, and as fast as sails are landing, they're getting absorbed. And as you can see, I have 3,000 sails in the orbit, and I have 3,000 sails being absorbed. So... first problem I have is we're not launching fast enough. Now, if we look at my little row of cannons, they're trying their absolute hardest. They are really, really... Has that belt arrived? No. Okay. They're trying their absolute hardest, but the problem with these cannons is they can only pick one orbit. Okay, they can only launch at one orbit at once. Now, there is a way around that, and again, this is a modified playthrough, so we're going to be using as many mods as possible. Well, the mod I've actually installed is Railgun Retargeting by Broken Mass. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go into this view, where actually, no, we're going to look at the world map first, and we can see all these cannons on the dark side of the world are not launching, because actually our target location is inside, you know, it's between us and the sun. So obviously, if we put some targets out here, there's a chance that the ones on the dark side of the planet could also launch. So what I want to do is I want to go into this view. I want to turn that off. We want to add a new note. That's the wrong one. I want to add an orbit. I want to drag this out as much as possible. And then, honestly, I just want to hit OK. And add a new one. Or actually... yes, because I've tried putting in different offsets. I've already tried this once in one of the previous recordings I was talking about. And putting them in different offsets. So if I had lots of orbits like this, okay, or actually lots of orbits like this, you know, with one starting at 0 degrees and one starting at 30 degrees, the next one starting at 60, then 90, then 120, 150, 180. That's the first way I set it up. And unfortunately, all of the orbits would have a launch of like here, and they'd all launch at that one point nowhere else. So what we're going to do is we're going to add orbits. We're going to drag that out to max, and I'm just going to click OK. And in theory, maybe somebody who's better at orbital dynamics than me could tell us whether if we set all of these with a nice, you know, 30, and then another one at 60, and then another one at 90, whether that would actually work, or set them all at 30 degrees and another one at, you know, 30, and then 60, and then 90, and whatever, whether that would actually get us more chances to launch. I think with Dyson Sphere, because the orbital dynamics are weird, as we've discovered, trying to make the rings, that probably wouldn't work. Yeah, but at the moment, I'm just going to make lots and lots of orbits. Just all the orbits, okay? The only thing I'm going to try and make sure is I don't have two too close together. If we do, we're just going to click cancel. We're going to drag that out again. Look, we'll manually change this one. Sure. Where's that? Yeah, that's definitely far from everything else. Max orbit. Max orbit. Yeah, that looks good. Yeah, that looks unique. Nope. And I found best effects happen if you let the random number generator that comes with the orbits do what it wants to do till you get up to like 14 or 15 of them. And then maybe your best bet is to start manually playing with the numbers, because you want to make sure that you don't have too many blank spaces. So if I add another orbit and I drag that all the way up, and I guess that one doesn't matter too much. It does. I want to flip you that direction to sort of fill this gap I've got through here. Rotate you back that way a little bit. Yeah. Okay, and then up to there. Yeah. Anywhere else seem pretty gappy? Yeah, right through here. So let's do a whatever that happened to be. Delete. That spins that way. Let's spin that way. Yup. 190 odd degrees looks a little bit blank. Okay. Can I have a different... let's go that direction. Here. And that direction. And last one. And then let's put you in that direction. Okay. Okay, so we've set these all up. All right. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go out of map view. And we're going to see that not all the cannons are now firing, but there's definitely more cannons firing. And what they're actually doing is their Broken Masses mod just tells the cannons to shoot basically any orbit they can reach. Okay, so at the moment this is retargeted orbit number 11. This is set to target orbit number 2. Let's go to this one. Orbit number 2. If it can hit orbit number 2. If it can't hit orbit number 2, it's going to swap across to 11. And then as soon as these guys can actually hit, there we go. So this one's hitting number, that one. It's hitting number 11 currently. As soon as it can hit orbit number 2, it goes back to shooting at orbit number 2. Which does mean, if I zoom out, we should be sending off sails in... Can I view on that one, please? We should now be sending off sails in all sorts of directions. Unfortunately, it only managed to find 3 extra orbits. But as the orbits move around, I'm expecting we're going to have more and more cannons being able to shoot some of these interesting orbits. Now, we're still... Wrong button. We've got still 3,000 in orbit, and they're still being absorbed as fast as they can be launched, because we have that much panel area. You know, what's this? 850,000. We've only got 141,000. So we have like 700,000 solar sails still needed. And on top of that, if I turn that off, I actually need to just quickly paint in these areas. And miss that joint entirely. There we go. Paint. Yeah, and then we now need, what's that? 1.6 million sails. So, oh, I missed one. 1.7 million sails. Yup. So, on top of that, we're going to start launching rockets again. North. Where's our tightly locked rockets? View. Yeah. Re-excite the monster. So, we're going to start launching a whole bunch more stuff. We're going to finish doing, and this only makes a small section of the Dyson Sphere, because obviously this is only the first couple of layers. I want to build all the way down to the bottom. I want to build all the way to the top. I want a full sphere, and we're going to need a lot of sails. So I need to start launching them as fast as possible. As you can see, we're up to 3.6k again. And... we don't have all of them launching on the dark side. But we're definitely doing a little bit better. And as you can see, some of these are going orange, then instantly finding a new target to shoot at. Which is good, because, you know, the more uptime they have, the better. Now, in saying that, there's another mod I want to actually show off, which is... where did I leave those belts? In there, I believe. Yes. Okay. So... We did cover, like, 2 episodes ago. We covered 2 whole episodes ago. I covered some blueprinting. But there's been some changes. There's been some updates. I actually had to remove the multi-build mod, okay? So the one we were using to, you know, build things down in rows nice and quickly, had to remove that mod. Because it conflicted with the one that we're going to show you in a second, which should let me blueprint things better. Let's just land right here. And as you can see on my toolbar, this whole time is a new button. And it is this blueprint button. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab this. And it's basically a highlight tool. So I want to highlight these things. And then we're going to right click to get rid of it. And then it's going to blueprint literally those items. So if I click there, these should all go down. And if I turn on the lights, that seems like a great idea. Which again, it's another mod, because I have seen people asking. It is what is it? It is SuperNightLight, for those that are scared of the dark. Okay, we're gonna bring that belt into there. Okay, I missed a power pole. Alright, so that should let us build those ones. But more importantly, if I go back into this this blueprint button and I click this one, I can then pick up the exact same blueprint over and over and over and over. And it's very, very versatile. The fact that I can wrong button, I can pick that and I can, well, hopefully have a better blueprint that things actually work in a straight line, because Jetty got his power poles out of whack. You go away, you go away. Too close. Too close. Yeah, your power poles need to be as close as possible. It's just a fact of life. So we can get in as many rail injectors as possible. Okay, so I bring that back up. We click that one. I can then, no tall buildings, clicky, clicky. Now, this mod, because I know that's going to be your question you're going to be asking right now, this mod is called Multi-Build Beta by Broken Mass. It's the exact same guy. What he's done is he's incorporated, and that's the other mod I had to remove. I had to remove the sorter copy, which was... what was it? CopyInserters, which is like the one mod that everybody agrees should be part of base game. Had to remove that mod because Broken Mass has basically included that inside his own mod now. So his own mod does what we had in the past, which was like, you know, maybe I'm going to press Alt and click here to start and then drag out as many of these as I wanted, as close to one another as I wanted. That's still in the mod. Now it also copies the inserters as part of his mod. And, more importantly, now also does blueprints. So, yes, my complicated rocket build, I can now blueprint that. My complicated ray receiver build, with all the belts coming out of it, which I could place down the buildings, but then I'd have to go back and do all the belt stuff manually. Now, all part of a mod. And if only JD could actually place all the power poles straight in the first place, then I could use the blueprint mod for most of this work. But it really didn't matter where the power poles were when I first did this, because we were just going for getting it running and nothing else. God, I got every power pole wrong. Okay. copy that. Copy that across. Power poles. Can I do, just a matter of curiosity, and do that? No. I can hit the plus button and space them out. That's the build order I want. There we go. We'll put them the exact distance apart that they need to be to make everything happy. There and there. Okay. Now, matter of interest. If we go this and we go copy all those, including the power poles, and then I go to paste. There we go. So that's now copied, including all the power poles. We'll move it down a couple of tiles so it doesn't argue anymore. And it doesn't have to deal with my old shitty power pole placement. Yeah, see, you're out of power. From the row above. Come on, there. Okay. And then again, paste. And it's just a matter of like dump it down as close as you can, and then hook up the two belts that don't quite line up. No matter what, they never line up perfectly because Dyson Sphere, you can't put a blueprint over a blueprint. It's a hole in the ground. It's a hole in the ground. Okay, and then back to blueprints. There we go. Lack of building. I don't have enough Tesla towers. Well, there you go. Alright, so we've at least demonstrated that it definitely works, providing the belts are hooked up, or we just maxed out a belt. I think we've maxed out a belt. I think we've definitely maxed out a belt. Yeah, okay, so now we're launching at least 30 sales per second, if not slightly more. You have lots of sales. You know what we're going to do? We're going to bring down another belt of sales. I'm going to take it to out of building range. Yes, there's a mod to fix that. Yes, we're going to be looking at that in a future upcoming episode. And we're going to bring that belt out. You go in there. You go out there. You go power pole. Come on. There we go. And why for you not work? Oh, because the drones didn't put down 10 belt. Okay. So now we're running 60 belt per second into that lovely little splitter, which still power. If I put a power pole here, make me happy. Alright, and out to Y mode, we are now, well, we've got 7,000 in the air and counting. God, that is a lot of rockets. And map view. View that north, and oh yeah, they're now launching to the south side and the north side of the star. Yeah, they're basically launching everywhere. Absolutely launching everywhere to get as many solar sails into the air as possible. Now, we're mass launching rockets. Okay, that's really good. I really liked our tightly locked rockets, and they're doing a wonderful job. In fact, actually, we might make a quicker jaunt. And now we can do this. I can zoom out. I can go to tightly locked rockets. I can click the indicator button, and we now know that it is that direction. With a 6 minute, 5 minute, 4 minute, 3 minute. That's one hell of an ETA. Actually, let's rotate that away. Although we do get to watch the rockets come at us. Yeah, I think I'm just going to shut up and speed this one up. Okay, so it does mean, one, we're probably producing heaps of power now. No, we still need 17 gigawatts. Okay, we are producing heaps of rockets, but one thing that is going to happen is I'm going to eventually run out of rockets, because we're launching them up at a rate of Dyson Sphere. We're launching them up at a rate of 1 minute, 700 per minute, and I'm only making them at like 2 per second back at home base, so like 120 per minute if I'm lucky. So we're going to max out our launching capabilities fairly soon, and I'm going to run out of rockets. I do have a fair amount stockpiled. I think I still have about 1,000 stockpiled. So yeah, but on top of that, we need to decide what our next big project is, and that's probably what I'm trying to get to. So we're already making, science-wise, we're already making 30 science per second. Production again, production number 1. We're making 660 per minute, which is 1 per second. So we're doing 1 per second for science, right? A little bit over 1 per second, 10 per second, 10 per second. 11 per second. 11 per second for science. So we're already doing 11 per second for science. I'm fairly happy with that. Fairly happy with that. But the question is, do we... Now, we've got a new system. We're getting power up and running by launching many, many rockets and many, many sails now. Do we set up Tasman 2, Tasman 5, Tasman... What's that? 7? 6. Do we set up one of these planets? Because I have 3 has acid, 5 has nothing. It's a perfect building planet, and 6 has water. So we need to get water from this planet, acid from this planet, no matter what. I might do those between episodes, just so we have a local source of both water and acid for our Forged in Fire planet. But I need to decide what we're going to do. I also need to set up way more sails, because at the moment we're launching them from Middle Earth. If I launch them from out here, and if we view this planet, you can see even with this at max range up here, down here, if I put cannons on the front side of the planet, I'm only going to maintain like a 50% launch rate, because, you know, anyone's on the dark side of the planet are not going to launch. On the inside planet, they might launch occasionally, as we've discovered, but also we've also discovered that because it's so close, that sometimes the angles don't work because it's so close and the yaw is too high and it's out of range. But because out here, the bias, if I have the right meaning for bias, the angle of attack is very, very low. So they should be able to hit everything out here, unless they're like right here and it's directly above them, at which point they can't fire again. But you know, the rest of the planet should be able to fire. So I need to cover one of these planets, one of these 3 planets, with solar sails. I need to, which we'll probably do in the next episode. We'll probably mass make solar sails, mass launch solar sails on one of these planets, and also we're going to have to mass make solar sails, because there is no way I have enough solar sail production back at home base. So solar sail production and solar sail launching, definitely high on our list, something we're going to be doing in a future episode. But then I need you guys to decide, are we going to go through and we're going to make more science to do science faster, because research is getting very expensive. In saying that, we are towards like the end of the tech tree. We're going to have 2 more robots, which will take me up to 25 robots. And they already travel at twice the speed I do. So I don't think I need more in here. The ray efficiency, we're down to like 8% inefficient. Which is, it's going to get lower, because each time brings this number down by 15% of whatever number this is left. So we'll bring it down more. It's still fairly cheap, but it's not going to make a big difference on this number. The faster carrier engine, that one we need to do a lot of research of, and it is fairly expensive. And the vanes utilization, we need to do a few more levels of that, but we're down to 40%. So like if a mine has 1 million ore in it, we're looking at least 2 million, if not more. So yeah, I need some decisions from you guys. I need to know what you guys want to see. Obviously, I need to finish doing the rockets on this planet, because there's a few of them missing. And I still want to cover the other side of the planet with ray receivers. And now I have the new blueprint mod. That's something I'm definitely going to do, because I should be able to do like that. And then go to number 2. Okay, come on, you can do it. Copy that up to there. Oh, and I should mention, you can hold down Control and remove individual items, and by hitting the minus button, I could be very, very exact with what I want to remove, and I could also just add things back in with the highlight button. On top of that, you can export blueprints. Now, the export blueprints is not terribly good. It gives you a hash. A long string of weird characters that you can paste in somewhere. Can I have, please, that? Can I have... It does give you a long string of characters that you can paste in somewhere. If I remember, maybe I'll put a link in the description if I can find it. I just noticed that that one's missing the belts because I didn't copy them. Okay, let's try that again. Just to there. And then right click. They're already set with proton generation. And if I bring that back up and click that, it's just a matter of lining things up. Oh, something I do want to mention is, as you can see, there is no way I can actually put that one there. Can I? Oh, no, I can. Never mind. I have noticed that the blueprint doesn't 100% apply to the game's overlapping. So there has been a few times when I've been playing with this that I could actually get the ray receivers too close. But as we can see, this is miles better. This is it's connect 5 belt and then walk along, and then put down. I'm out of belt. But you get the point. Like, it's so much better, and as it is, we've got thousands of thingies. Anyway, all right. I'm going to end the episode here. I need some decisions. Next episode, definitely, we're going to pick one of these planets, and start mass making solar sails. As I said, one's going to do acid, one's going to do water. Technically, I have a whole planet free for building. I think I'm going to reserve the building planet for actually building on, so we'll probably take one of the other 2 planets, turn it into either cannons or... Yes, it's got a fairly large angle. I think this one will end up north. This one. I think this one will probably be the better one to launch sails from. And then we'll do 7 making sails, and then 5. I need a decision. What would you guys want to see? Do you want to see more science per second and we do a massive science build, or do you want to see a massive rocket build? Because I'm open to either. And at the same time, yes, I will be going out and visiting new planets and probably renaming some of the ones we already have after Patrons, because now that feature is there, we're going to definitely partake in that feature. Anyway, with all that said, and we now have 9,000 sails in orbit being absorbed all at the same time, with basically, I did add some more cannons, but not that many more cannons that should have made that much of a difference, but because they're choosing multiple orbits, we're doing miles better in the solar sail department. Anyway, I've rambled for far too long, as always. Thank you guys so much for watching. I do hope you enjoy the time-lapse at the end of this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.